Is child marriage promoted in Vedic culture? To address this important question, in this video, we explore what ancient scriptures actually say and how Bharatiya culture understood and reflected these ideas in practice. Let us now enter the first 1000 years of early Vedic period, that is 1500 BCE to 500 BCE. This span is crucial as it sets the foundation before the rise of Smritis and Dharmasutras. In Rigveda 10.85.46, Surya Sukta, the bride is hailed as Samrajini, attuned to her in laws and husband's skin, showing maturity and authority, not childhood dependence. In Rigveda 10.85.21 and 22, she speaks in the Vidatha, the public assembly, which requires adult intellect and social agency. In Atharva Veda 11.5.18, it is said that by practicing brahmacharya, that is meant for education, a maiden obtains a youthful husband, highlighting education and readiness only after puberty. These verses together affirm that in the early Vedic period, marriage was envisioned for mature, educated women, clearly not promoted child marriage. When we step into the post-Vedic age around 500 BCE, the era of Smritis and Dharmasastras, we encounter contradictions. In most of the Smritis and Dharmasutras available today, some verses prohibit child marriage, while others permit it. It is not that one Smriti or Dharmasutra is entirely against child marriage and another entirely in favor. Rather, each text contains both types of verses. This inconsistency raises questions, and the contradictions within each Smriti clearly suggest that some passages are original while others are later insertions or interpolations. In Manusmriti, in chapter 9, verse 90, the text says, "A maiden who has attained puberty may wait 3 years and then find a suitable husband." Yet, in chapter 9, verse 94, the same Manusmriti prescribes child marriage. In the Bodhayana Dharmasutra, in chapter 4, verse 10.14, the text says, "A maiden who has attained puberty may wait 3 years and then choose a suitable husband." This clearly discourages a child marriage. Yet, in chapter 4, verse 1.13, it prescribes one should give a girl in marriage before she enters into the puberty stage. The Gautama Dharma Sutra presents clear contradictions on marriage age. In chapter 18, verse 20, it states, "A maiden who has attained puberty shall wait 3 months and then may choose a blameless husband." Yet, in chapter 18, verse 21, it declares a pre-puberty girl should be given in marriage. The Abhastamba Dharma Sutra presents contradictions on marriage age. In 2.5.11, it states, "A maiden who has attained puberty may wait 3 years, then choose a husband." Yet, in another recension of 2.5.11, it favors the marriage where the girl is in the pre-puberty stage. Again, the contradictions clearly show possible later insertions. With respect to child marriage, in many of the ancient texts, including series of Grihya Sutras, the differently interpreted terms are Nagnika and Kanya. We will skip this view after 3 seconds, but if you would like to explore it further, feel free to pause and take a closer look. Let us see some of the interpolations. In the Bhatma Purana, in 2.85, 62 to 66, there is a term Aprapthara Jaskam. Here, the term Aprapthara supports child marriage. The prefix A may be the later interpolation, with the original reading Praptara Jaskam instead of Apraptara Jaskam. The other word in the verse is Kanya and not Kanyaka or Kannika. The Skanda Purana, Book 3, Section 2, Chapter 30, verse 8 and 9 records Rama at 15 marrying 6-year-old Sita. Because the term Panchadase, which means 15, when referred to Rama's age. But actually, many scholars point out this and say it is a possible interpolation and it should not be Panchadase and it should be Panchavimse. The letter the is incorrect and the letter vim is the right one. Similarly, while describing Sita's age, the verse says Sadvarsam, which means 6 years old. It should be Sadosa Varsham, which means 16 years, which is the correct one. Our ancestors advised, when doubt arises, turn to Idihasa Puranas, where the deeper Sastric truths are preserved. In the Ramayana and Mahabharata, marriage is consistently portrayed only after maturity. Heroines like Sita and Draupadi enter marriage as capable adults, never as children. The same holds across Puranic traditions. Heroes and heroines marry after reaching readiness with intellect and agency. This uniform portrayal shows that versus prescribing marriage at ages like 8 or 10 or later insertions or interpolations, not authentic voice of our scriptures. The other supportive point is the legacy of 1000 years of the early Vedic system, that is 1500 BCE to 500 BCE, where child marriage was absent. The Smritis and Dharmasastras, written upon this foundation, continue that principle and many verses reflect it. Prescriptions of child marriage are later insertions, while the authentic voice of tradition affirms dignity, education, and readiness before marriage. At the same time, we cannot discount the facts. Yes, child marriage was there in Bharat, not as a culture but as an exceptional practice, as like in many parts of the world. Scholars say the reasons included protection of lineage, political alliance between ruling families, safeguarding family wealth and inheritance, and strengthening clan bonds, repeated warfare, fear of raids and abductions, political insecurity and collapse of kingdoms, heightened anxieties are the reasons. Now, moving from text to statistics. This comparative table highlights Indian women's average life expectancy, average puberty age, and average marriage age against average of top 10 regions between 1500 BCE and 1900 CE. The evidence shows that Indian women consistently lived about 8 years less than this top 10 regional average, reached puberty nearly 2 years earlier, and married on an average 4 years younger. These differences reflect demographic realities, shorter lifespans, higher child mortality, and earlier biological maturity rather than rigid religious scriptural planning. Marriage in India was historically shaped by social necessity and demographic pressures, with scriptures adapting to prevailing social norms rather than dictating them. Importantly, the data confirms that the majority of marriages occurred after puberty, with child marriage being exceptions. This demonstrates that Indian society, like others, balanced biological realities with social continuity, and marriage practices evolved in response to lived conditions, not abstract ideals. Reading these Smritis through a modern cut and paste lens completely glosses over a several thousand years cultural legacy of mature Vedic marriage. Without this historical context, we risk misinterpreting our own textual tradition.